Welcome back, everyone, to the Play versus High Schools Bring 2024 Championships. I'm Hail Monkey Man, the booth, alongside Clutch Key, and we are turning that key, but we're turning off the engine so we can crank up for some extra Splatooning, as we have Splatoon 3 coming at you for the Oklahoma Secondary School Activities Association Finals. It's going to be a big one, and it's another change-up. No 1 versus 2. It's a number 3 versus a number 4. Clutch Key, we already saw our first one of the day be a wacky 3rd seed versus 4th seed, and we're doing it again, but with a different title.
Different title indeed, Splatoon, and I'm excited for this one because it's been a little while since I've touched the game in itself, I will say that, but there's been a lot of changes lately, especially with one of the more recent patches. I know 7.1 dropped, but 7.0 came out really big, especially with a new map on Marlin Airport, so I'm really excited to see what these teams are going to bring out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one. In fact, I actually just got to do a little bit of playing with this with my daughter, and she actually had just gone through the side order missions. So hey, you know what? Glad to see how much of this is still really kind of get involved with these squads at hand. And speaking thereof, hey, the two teams that we have coming in are gonna be Santa Fe South High School. That's gonna be the SFS Splatoon squad. They're coming in with Coach Steele Cobb to guide them against the Mount St. Mary Catholic High School. That's gonna be your Mount Ink Brigade with the coaches of Alexander Wishon as well as Nancy Marie Artega. So both these squads able to take care of business in the early portions of this bracket, and they both kind of gave some surprises to the 1 and 2 seed respectively, with the skill issue Wolverines and the Wildcat Splatoon varsity both falling. So now they come into this and we have a full best of 5 gambit on lock. But Clutchkey, looking at how this format kind of goes, it could be a sprint decidedly on how some of the early portion of these games go, and the first one will in fact be Turf War.
Yeah, so Turf War, the classic old game mode, and it really depends what these teams want to pick on the maps, because obviously you got a lot of different things to choose from here, especially on the map type, right? I mean, especially when we go through the map types here. Turf War, Rainmaker, Splat Zones, Tower Control, Clan Blitz, right? In that order if we go through all 5. So this first one really sets the tone, and what I want to see really from, I said it beforehand, I want to see if these teams decide to pick Marlin Airport. Probably it is the newest map after all inside of, or newest stage, I should say. I shouldn't say map, but it's the newest stage here inside of this entire thing. But what it really shows out is that as of recently as well, you look at Robo Rom M, you look at Bluefin Depot as well. Those have had little bit of a lesser inkable areas, but you increase that by a couple hundred points now, and you get Marlin Airport. But there's a lot to conjure up here when you're talking about different stages to pick from as well. But I also want to see some things new as well, because there's 2 new weapons here as of 7.0 with the patch. So you have the Dowser Dualies, you have the Recycled Brella, which I'm not too sure if we're going to see a lot of Brella as well, because it's just not, it's really not, I guess, meta, you should say. Although if you saw the World Championships, a Korean team is running it, and that's just, that they know how to play that game, essentially. But here, I'd love to see if the Dowser Dualies comes into play as well, and the primary gear shifts as well, because, you know, you could try to increase your ink resistance, try to increase your speed at the same time too. Turf War is all about speed, so I want to see what these teams pull out to start here, especially with that speed.
I mean, when you really kind of think, and you actually mention over to the World Championships, much of what Turf War kind of exists as, it's the only map type or only stage type in its entirety that guarantees that we will go the distance on this timer. And I actually got to see the North American squad. They ran it down into spawn against that same Korean team, who then were able to fight back and force a game number 3. Now, the biggest difference is if you do play around something like a Splat Brella, then you're trying to play for extension of space, and then you're actually forcing a counter composition, if that's going to be a set piece to be played, to have to take a lot of extra explosives. So get the Splat Bomb and just be able to really burst down that shield that comes with it. But otherwise, it does all cycle around a lot of central control. It will be 3, I think, minutes that will be going into this first matchup. And so in succession, we are guaranteed to see ourselves on Turf Wars. We're going to be going over to Rainmaker thereafter. And I know it's Clutchkey's favorite, Splat Zones, right in the middle of all of it. So that could be a little longer of a venture, yeah.
Don't even get me started. I mean, if we go back and forth, the way that Splat Zone work is that you're going to be seeing penalty points being played over and over. And oh boy, it's just going to get absolutely crazy here. So we are about to head into the game, and I can't wait to see what we're starting out with here on Turf Wars, because this is, like I said, it's going to set the tone. We're going to see the speed of these teams. We're going to see what they decide to bring out. I'm especially excited to see what lineups they have for their special weapons too, because you know it. We saw a lot of Crab Tank during the World Championships. We saw a lot of that missile, the Tenta missiles as well. That's just going to create some space. One thing I did want to point out, we were saying this earlier on, are we going to see the Tacticooler? Because that's the big one. That's the big question mark on whether or not we see it. If these teams do pull it out, these teams want to play aggressively. That's the bigger question. We're going to find out here in just a couple moments.
And that comes along with a couple of great weapons as well, if they're also running them, because you can get both the Snipe Rider, aka that pencil, as well as the InZap 85. So if they're already working into that, it could be running huge. We do have a Splatling, by the way, so that's going to be bringing some massive damage, at least some control over for mid. So skirmishing in a fat manner, but we do go here into our first turf war to start it off.
Yeah, and this is going to be really big here. The biggest thing you want to start the game off is mid-control. Yes, you want to get the side, but that's really only for one person to take care of. You want at least 2 or 3 people at least trying to play for mid, and that's exactly what you're seeing at the moment, just trying to figure out where they want it. Everybody's got their special weapons to start off what they want to use. What I'm especially excited to see here, that's a big one, and that's going to be especially very, very nice Storm there. And everybody, wow, that's a couple of big ultimates to use there very early on, but that's just the control space in there. You can see already, I think that's the Mountain Brigade that's very much in trouble.
Yeah, they were able to use that big Booyah Bomb to really kind of separate themselves, and if they're taking a note out of the pros at that World Championship level, it's about establishing early footprints into your opponent's back spawn, and it looks like that we're actually getting that right now as they're just advancing time and time again, forcing that Vortex to kind of go up and take over this high ground, really not allowing them to take even an inch forward here, Clutch.
Yeah, they're not even letting them breathe here at this moment, and you can see the special weapons trying to build up, but really not a moment to breathe, not a moment too soon. You can see the curling, you can see the little bit more of a bomb. The Booyah Bomb comes out, but it doesn't find anything really, and you can see over and over this team in yellow being eliminated one at a time, and just that turf already. I said it was all about mid-control, and when you get that mid-control, you're able to put the pressure on, and that's exactly what's happening. Look, they're not even going for the turf at this point. They're going for the eliminations.
Hey, you know what? There's no pain out there if there's no players to put it down. So simply just lay it on target, and another big special already online, and you're using that quick Bazooka to just establish just further control. A big splat as they do get one, and it's been Fly Any that's really been just uncontested here, playing off of the ramp, and as soon as you try to get a foot forward, that massive paintbrush just lays the pain as well.
Yeah, this is the setup here for the Mountain Ink Brigade right now with that paintbrush is doing wonders right now, because that's going to allow you to create a lot more space, but the shooters are able to at least give you some range. Booyah Bomb in the middle is not going to do much of anything. 1 minute left to go. If you're this team in yellow from, hey, you're looking pretty good. Now you can at least maybe push up some, but no, that's 3 eliminated at the same time.
Ooh, looking for a wipeout if they can, and that one will be a full wipe as they force all the resets, and there's going to be all of one special online here for the Splatoon squad out of Santa Fe, and they have just been holding a foothold that no one can deny. Maybe a last late resurgence, and it's always said that the last 30 seconds is really where everything kind of goes full tilt, but with massive splats just happening over and over again against this Mount Ink Brigade, they just can't take even a moment's respite and trying to just advance in, following forward. It looks like this one's gonna be a very dominating finish.
Yeah, it's looking like it's gonna be pretty much, oh, there's the wipeout. There's the wipeout you want, and that's just adding insult to injury here. There's no need to probably check out the final board here. The only thing we need to check out on the final board is how bad it was, but man, oh man, Mount Ink Brigade showing off here to start us off, or rather, I should say, excuse me, that's good. The blue side right now just doing wonders, and that's Splatoon squad that's able to get the first one up. So Santa Fe starts off this really, really well. My, oh my, that percentage was baffling.
That was a very high percent, damaging to say the least. Not even a 60-30, but 64-20 something. So sitting pretty are the side of the Splatoon squad out of Santa Fe. So good looks at least to start things on. And it felt like we were constantly cycling to that same ramp point, looking for entry to Go Center. And like, you know, we talk about central control of the map, especially for turf wars, and then cutting out the perimeter thoroughfares, because that may be your one lane, but it ends up being regretful because you just get funneled into that same points, and it was just high low control. Fly Any was just kind of left to do whatever they wanted, and no one could get them out of the way.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, mid control, they were able to control it. They weren't able to push past it. If you're not Santa Fe, if you're the Splatoon squad rather, you're looking for basically you're trying to find some kind of way to enter into mid and push out mid. They weren't able to do that at all. All the Booyah bombs, all the splats as well, all the splat eliminations, I should say, were just way too much for this Mount Ink Brigade to handle. So Santa Fe handling this perfectly. And so now, or Santa Fe South, excuse me, trying to figure this out for. I mean, I don't know what you do if you're the Mount Ink Brigade right now. I don't know if I don't know what you do. You got to figure out a way to. Maybe it's the special weapons. I know, honestly, we saw the Explosher doing a lot of work. We saw the Paintbrush doing a lot of work as well. It's just too much pressure that they're putting on right now. So you would love to see maybe them trying to play up a little bit more, or even, I hate to say it, but maybe even the Umbrella needs to come out, try to create some space.
You were so adamant. They're like, there's no way that a Splat Umbrella is going to be making its appearance at all. But it feels like it could. I think even, look, I'm gonna give you an extra down check as well. We could get the old Ultra Stamp out. If it simply comes down to creating a moment of pressure to get the rest of the team to have to flow forward, then that could be it. But it also becomes a set piece. Do you super contend and or invest into it? Because it could all go wrong. The key thing, though, is that we are in fact switching gears. It's going to go from Turf Wars over into the Rainmaker. So playing Rainmaker is much more about, all right, who are you sacrificing sitting on Rainmakers, slowing down, trying to gain those points, and then having skirmishing and slaying happening around to try and get those extra splats to get to each of those checkpoints. And I think that one, we actually could see the likes of a Tacticooler coming in. It hits a lot more with Turf Wars, but if you want to gain some speed, maybe that particular special will make an appearance.
Yeah, and we're gonna go to, we even know our next map here, which is Humback Pump Track. So this map was also in Splatoon 2, but gets updated for Splatoon 3 here, especially in splat zones where that middle area, right, you get blocks to the side of the stage and makes access for the opposite team to kind of make it a little bit harder for them to entry, and it makes the splat zone a little bit easier to control as well. So this is going to really rely on whichever team gets there first is going to have an easier time to count down their timer. The bigger picture, though, is that if you hit a lot of penalty points, that's where it starts to melt away a little bit, and that's where those blocks start to maybe kind of not help you in that way, because you got to really count down those points. And if that block, if you're able to enter into that center zone pretty easily, that's where it gets a little bit uncomfortable for the opposing team. So yeah, this penalty points thing is going to build up, and we'll get to see if they can even get through it, because I think this one's going to go back and forth maybe a little bit more than what we saw in Turf War.
I mean, it has the leniency to do so because they did in Splatoon 3 add at minimum the checkpoints where you have to duck down the Rainmaker to make it happen. So going to see how much of that does come about. We did see, I think you were surprised that the specials came out a bit earlier to just establish that mid control, but it's because they were so rapidly finding that investment and that return to build those specials that we were able to see it happen more often. There's going to be a lot of splatter shots that come coming into this one, and a splatling as well, but I want to see what's happening with the dualies on the other side. Let's go into it. Rainmaker, who's gonna be able to grab it first, looking to take over control and simply see if they can get this extended on the lead.
Yeah, my apologies. I thought it was splat zones, but no, we're going into Rainmaker. So this is the King of the Hill style. Yeah. So now everybody's fighting for that middle control, but you can see the team in the light blue. Not too sure who that is. We'll try to get confirmation on it. Trying to get to that goal zone already. They break through the first checkpoint here, and can they even get the rest of that Rainmaker to go out? They at least get the elimination at the very least for right now. Trying to capture that checkpoint on only 60 points left to go as it heads all the way back to mid for right now. They're just trying to clear out the middle area. Now this red team's giving themselves more of a little bit of a chance to get that first checkpoint, and they do break it, which means there's only one checkpoint left on either end.
Wow, Flying Fish was actually doing absolute work as Fly Indy now comes back to him. They're able to obtain the Rainmaker as well and just looking to gain some distance. Look how quickly they're seeing some of their teammates fall, but they're gaining some ground. And with that second checkpoint just nearby, getting as close as they can, that's into the heart of the problem, because that's as close as you get to your opponent. But they bring out those sloshers to really kind of counter some of that effort. And now looking at where they got to be able to move around, seeing that Kraken farm, just trying to secure some space gives them the ability to rotate around this map, and it looks like they will do so.
Yeah, trying to rotate around, but mainly they're trying to play around the Rainmaker. They don't want to give that up just yet, and now they want to try to make some advances, but you can see how spread out they are, right? You can see how much they are playing around that Rainmaker, but it's playing for the Rainmaker, I should say, as well. That timer's going to run out here sooner or later. They got to try to make a move here. Booyah Bomb comes out, but now it's more or less on the fact that they're trying to make some space. They're trying to get around. Problem is, now the cavalry comes. The Sharks are inbound, but nowhere near is this team in blue.
That was a great splat as well, and they've been able to get that lead back with only 17 to go. What a find of the 11th hour here as they're going back forward. Santa Fe, they saw that one nearly turned into a tied series with only a little bit to go, running it down, just holding it from mid, and honestly, they can kind of play this for a longer amount of time with less than 3 minutes remaining. I mean, there's still a ton of time here, Clutch Key, for them to just kind of cycle this from left to right, and everyone is falling just as fast, and that nearly is a full wipeout as it will be.
Yeah, nearly full wipeout for the red side, or for the orange side, I should say here. So this is really a test of who's going to blink first. I mean, both sides, what, 30 distance remaining, 17 remaining as well, but you can see the lead. If this timer runs out without anybody getting the checkpoint, whoever was closest to that final Rainmaker checkpoint is going to be the winner here. So if you're this orange team right now, you're looking pretty dang good, and Santa Fe is well on their way to getting a second point. But now the league shifts on over all the way back, and now they've got the opportunity to make the move here if you're the Mount Ink Brigade.
The toughest position is right here where we're seeing much of that fly, and the splat comes through just as they look for the escape route. It's going to be, in fact, Glitch that gets them, and that's going to be massive, especially as they don't have to make much of an advance. They were able to get it all the way deep in enemy territory, and that slosher is going to give them at least a chance to cover down. They see their teammate fall, and then looking for an escape route as they're being chased away and have to use the super jump just to make sure that they are secure. The worst thing that you could do is have all of your team fall out and not stop the advancement, especially because Santa Fe wants to take a 2-0 in this series, but Fly Any is just slowly trudging their way through all this paint.
They can get there, though. They have a path now. They have a clear path. They just got to get rid of it. And oh, the Rainmaker, no, you lost it right there, right in front of it. Goal still, Rainmaker itself closer near that Mount Ink Brigade side, so Santa Fe really want to push the envelope here, and if there's nothing that the Mount Ink Brigade can do, now they want to go for it here. They're just charging right in. They're just letting it, trying to create a path here. But no, they get rid of the Rainmaker as well, and the lead does go back on over to Mount Ink Brigade, but that's going to be taken right back, especially on the trade-off like that.
Massive wipeout. This is a chance. They're trying to just sling it forward. They get at least a few extra points, but they drop it right at the door. Less than a minute to go here, and this could be a massive comeback for this Mount Ink Brigade, just to hold this hill, hold this timer, and make it tough for the recovery of the Rainmakers. You've seen that slosh out of Glitch. They've been holding that left side of the map for that entry points, but then they actually just kind of sacrifice themselves out in open ink. Rainmaker about to be bursted, and that's available for the grab.
So the shield's up, 30 seconds left to go. This is going to be close here. But if you're Mount Ink Brigade right now, you need to find a way to break through. You need to find a way to get some splats onto this team right now. You get a 3v3 situation, but it's not looking good for you for right now because they could wait this one out if they really wanted to. They break the bubble, break the shield, and now somebody's got to find a way to do it. And that's the way to do it if you're the Mount Ink Brigade. You get 3.
Oh, wow. They're just going to hug it to the corner. This is a very smart move. They don't have to do anything else except stay behind this box, and we're going to have ourselves a tied series. Running it in, it will stay just behind. Got to get handles on the Rainmaker. We're in overtime. Going to pick it up, but it will be dropped out. And now, as we see Mount Ink hold strong, they simply denied them from making any extra footwork.
Mount Ink Brigade getting the win there with the score 83-75. That's big for them. That's a 1-1 game. And my curse is gone. No 3-0s.
Yes!
No 3-0 happening. We're tied at one apiece. We love to see it.
Oh, man. I'm so proud of you. Look, claps in the chat. Everyone, be happy with Clutch Key. As you know what? A sweep we will not have. And what a titanic effort, honestly, by the Mount Ink Brigade, because that had a chance. That stayed in the corner. I think it was around the 2.5 minute mark for the entire rest of that game. No further could it be grabbed, and it was honestly just good battlefield management, making sure that no one from Santa Fe was able to go and get forward, even with a lot of splats on either side.
Yeah. And you knew they had the lead as well. It was going to go into overtime no matter what because they weren't even going to get close to it. But you knew for a fact that you can see on the board they had the lead already. They just knew they had to keep it the rest of the way, and that's exactly what happened towards the end. As soon as they got rid of only one more touch, that's all they needed, and that was it. So well done by Mount Ink Brigade to get themselves to 1-1 tie. And now we go into our next map here in only a couple of moments, which is going to be Splat Zones. And here's where it could get very well crazy. And another map where we could see the timer run all the way down. We saw 2 maps in a row where that time ran all the way down. I didn't think so, but we're going to see it play down yet again, and we're going to we're going to find out whether or not these teams have the endurance, because that's exactly what this game mode is.
It's funny because these games overall for Splatoon really can go by very quickly. Maybe that's also just me experiencing the you know, a good squad actually play great tower control, and I just have a squad that has no idea how to take it over. But clearly these two championship running teams have been able to do their homework and simply gut check themselves. So we are guaranteed a game 4. Splat Zones is going to be coming up here in just a moment, and we also have just after that, I believe we're going to be going over to tower control. So a lot of checkpoints still in the way, and that one's going to be even tougher because you have to keep your players up on tower for it to even move and get beyond a lot of those checkpoints. But it can also be very fast depending on how quickly you clear them. But let's talk to Splat Zones in its totality. There's some specials as well as some weapons that really kind of establish better control of these zones much more quickly. I think that we're obviously going to be seeing Trizuka. Could maybe see the crab tank come out, but also for a lot of these players, they often don't switch off of what is comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, don't fix what's not broken. Stay in your comfort zone. That's exactly what this is, right? And we saw not much of a change. I don't think we saw a change at all, at least on the lineup side for what the weaponry was, but for what their lineup is and for that super jump that you were talking about earlier on, that super jump is really well done, especially in Rainmaker, just so that you can try to capture that Rainmaker even earlier, or at least take some space up for that as well. So let's see where we're going to go. I guess we are going to get a next game here, and it is going to be a Barnacle and Dime we are headed to. So this one is one of the, I shouldn't say newer map, I should say, but this one is pretty much going to be came out back on June 1st, 2023 last year, and back in Sizzle season, back in summer season, back in the Sizzle season. And this is we're Splat Zones right in the middle. Nothing has changed, obviously. So this is just going to be clean gameplay here and find out which team can take control of that middle area, because it's not 2 sections, it's only 1.
It's only 1. All right, so they're going to be playing for 1 central zone, which means everyone hits the W key and just hopes. I mean, I think this actually kind of plays into the favor. I forget which player was doing it. It might have been Flying Fish, but it was who was playing onto the Kraken Royale. It's not exactly your greatest, but you turn into Invincible Kraken, and then you just take over space, and you get a lot of that melee, and that's actually what they were using to try and get the Rainmaker in the first place, which really separated and kind of divided much of the pack out of Mount Ink Brigade. But it looks like we are sticking with it for the most part. No big changes. Dualies on either side. Same with the Splatling. But that Slosher was kind of a playmaker at times. Really has to have that slay making capability.
Yeah, really has to find a way to make some plays here. And already you can see this team in blue getting control of the point. They already lose it, and now it's back in their command. Good thing you don't have any penalty points there. Booyah Bomb doesn't really do anything, and you can tell about it too, right? Oh, there's a wipeout very early on. That's so much space that can be taken up. But that Booyah Bomb doesn't do all of the 50%. Yes, it does some, but it only does maybe 35% at most. So you got to find a way to play off that Booyah Bomb, because otherwise there's not a lot you can do. And keep it going here if you're this blue team right now, because the pressure's on, and nothing that I think this Santa Fe can do about it.
Rainstorm coming in, and oh my goodness, what a splat that was on follow-up. That's gonna be holy mango. That really comes through, and so you can look for the retake to create the vortex, and they will take over the splat zone. That's gonna be a 46-point differential whenever the likes of Santa Fe want to come back to it, but they do set themselves up in a fantastic position overall, as now Mount Ink trying to get right back into this fight. Lots of just kind of exterior zone control overall, but finally onto that break as well. They're able to get it back, and it's playing from distance. It's unfortunate because those sloshers are finding a lot of value on both sides. Yeah,
and the exploshers here on both sides are really, really big right now. It's really going to make a difference, because especially if that Explosher can make a lot of space, that is basically what will control the center point. You just watch out for those. Whichever one is able to get more space done, whichever one is able to create more area for themselves, is obviously going to win this one and the Splat Zone in general. And they're just another special weapon. The Booyah Bomb gets 3!
Wow, that was massive. Throwing it straight in, and finally they clear their penalty as well. So now those points are ticking a lot faster. That's a rough one if you are Mount Ink Brigade, as they're going to try and come back into it. But overall, Splatoon Squad Santa Fe has really reestablished themselves after losing out on the Rainmaker. They couldn't get the handles on it, but another wipeout. Every single time these are coming out from out of spawn, they're just not able to get them back. With only 5 on the board and no one left to contest, it is going to go over to the Splatoon Squad Santa Fe. Will get themselves on a match point.
Man, I thought this was going to last a little bit longer than that. I did not expect a complete knockout within, what was that, a good 2 minutes? And that was pretty much it. I mean, just a ridiculous amount of time that it took for them to win it. And yes, it's going to be Santa Fe giving themselves the 2-1 lead overall. So, man, oh man, Santa Fe's got, they've got the momentum on their side. They're 1 away from the ship, and all they got to do is defend a tower. All they got to do is make a tower shift a little bit more, and that's pretty much it. That's the season. That's the ship right there. So you got to love the way that the Booyah Bomb took 3, and I think that was the turning point. Obviously, you never wanted to lose 3 on a single special weapon, I should say, but oh man, just the way that played out is just unlucky for the Mount Ink Brigade. So now they got to find a way to defend this tower, otherwise it's season over.
I mean, they're going to try and turn into a short season for them, and one that's going to be holding a trophy for the side of Santa Fe. But that was also because you had a lot of Mount Ink seeing kind of, not maybe frustration, but just needing to desperately get to site and hold on to that splat zone, to hold on to it. And much of all of the Splatoon squad from Santa Fe simply hang out in the perimeter. That is the perfect storm for them if they're playing around a Booyah Bomb, because it creates splat moments just to be able to get a triple and then complete wipeout. I think we saw 3 wipeouts in a row against Mount Ink, which really just kind of devastated them. And this, I think that you could agree, could boil down to one solid opening team fight, get that tower control, and if it does not find a recovery for who loses that first team fight, then this could be over.
Oh, it absolutely could be over. I think it's one of those where you cannot lose the first team fight. That's the big thing. But more importantly, even if you were to lose the first team fight, at least for tower defense, tower's maybe a little bit slower so that it can help you out until it reaches the first 2 checkpoints. But at the same time now, right, a wipeout is devastating. 3 wipeouts is just, let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that point. As we know our next map here for tower control, which will be Brinewater Springs, which I believe, if I remember the map correctly here, was one of the first maps to be released post the Splatoon 3 release. So I think this is in version number 2, or rather I should say patch 2.0, or it gets in the chill season. So now Brinewater Springs might look a little bit more Japan-ish, if you will, with the way the map looks, and you'll see it here in a second. But overall, I mean, this tower defense game, I think I would like to see a sniper here. Honestly, the way that this works out, you know where somebody has to be. You know that you have to be on top of the tower for it to happen, right? So you would love to see a long-range game where if one person peeks out, that sniper can hit. But obviously, they don't have to listen to me because they're playing what they want, right? You can play the explosives if you want. You can play those Booyah Bombs if you want to as well, because if you throw that Booyah Bomb on top of the tower, it's pretty much just over and done with. So who knows what they see, but we very well could see the Charger weapons. Who knows?
Yeah, Chargers have actually been pretty exponentially missing. We've seen a lot of splatter shot and representation, as well as dualies and even the Gatling. And gotta see, we're gonna get a brush. Okay, so that's gonna be some trying to really take over that control and go for some just initial pressure to just hang on to it for dear life. Is this gonna be the end of the championship? And against the likes of Mount Ink, can the Splatoon squad from out of Santa Fe simply grab the chip? We go to the initial fight. This one could be really telling about how this will turn.
Well, the tower's already moving in the favor of this pink squad right now, so I believe that's Santa Fe with it. Or is it Mount Ink Brigade again?
For Splatoon, it's Santa Fe's. Santa Fe
it
pink.
Is, yeah. It is Santa Fe in pink right now, so they get control of it right now. They've already got the first checkpoint, and this is not good. Look how much space they're taking up. This Gatling gun is proving way too much. And even the Explosion is just doing way too much damage. They don't even need special weapons. They only need one more checkpoint, and they've got it.
Oh no, I told you this could be a sprint. They're turning this long run championship into a speed run. It's stalled out, waiting on that second checkpoint, and then it's just gonna be a photo finish to the absolute end. Mount Ink, they have to put up some resistance, but it's too much, too little, too late, as they will find this chip in earnest. That was a sprint, and that's gonna be your OSSAA winners out of Santa Fe.
I mean, what do you even say? What do you even say about that, Monkey Man? Why, there's nothing to analyze. There's nothing to talk about. That was just a sprint. That felt like Usain Bolt in Splatoon.
Wow.
I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss. I'm a caster, but I'm at a loss for words.
It's a very just like what someone just said, it is a very momentum and snowball type of map. As soon as the initial opening team fight happens, you can stagger those spawns. It feels almost kind of like your your main thing. It feels very Overwatchy when you have to hold a territory and you just keep them rolling. So now that's it. That was fast. That's about as quick as I thought it might go, depending on how that first fight went. And that's going to be Santa Fe South High School that takes this championship. What a way to do it.
Yeah, this is one of those times where you just breathe in, breathe out. Look, Splatoon's going to be a quicker game, if anything, right? It's a very, very quick game there. So overall, I mean, if you're the Mount Ink Brigade, nothing to be ashamed about. Obviously, you got the second place here. You've got yourself at least the runner-up position. Maybe you wanted a little bit more, but unfortunately, the Santa Fe South squad just said, we're going to run it down. We're going to run right at you. We're going to throw some punches, and hey, we're going to become champions, and that's exactly what it is. So, I mean, if Splatoon 4 comes out, then maybe they've got a chance. Who knows? But, you know, Splatoon 3 at this very point right now belongs to the Santa Fe team, and congratulations to them.
Well, you know, great looks through these first few championships that we've had today for PlayVS, a couple for Rocket League, and now for Splatoon 3, but there's still one more on the way. I want to thank everyone that was able to listen and view, not just us, but also the awesome student talent, Clutch Key and myself, Hell Monkey Man. We will be out of the booth, and you will be joined in just a little bit by both Orbital and K-Factor, who will be coming at you live and loud for some League of Legends. Don't go anywhere, at least don't go far. We'll be back in just a little bit.